Hi guys. I have a little time to kill before work, so I'm sitting up at Wawa, and it's almost 2:30, I think, in the afternoon, Eastern time. Here in Florida, it's 82 degrees, and as I was walking to work, I was in my thoughts, as I usually am, and I'm looking around and I'm dripping sweat, red. Stopped at racetrack, got some water. I'm like, okay, it is March. It's March 5th. It should not be this hot. Florida is normally, on average, year-round hot overall. I've lived here most of my life. It is. But not this brutally hot, and certainly not in March. I lived in Florida since I was a baby, so it's been really, really windy the last few days here. I think with the storms that are going on in the south, those winds going over the Gulf are hitting us in Florida, so I can definitely feel the strength of the winds. We've had windy skies the last 3 days. Today, well, I don't know if you can see my hair blowing, but it's pretty windy right now, but nothing like yesterday or the day before. That's a nice reprieve from the heat. Take it from a pedestrian. Anyways, so as I was thinking, first when I left, for those who don't know, I currently stay in a homeless shelter. I've been battling homelessness for almost 3 years, and it's been a struggle to even want to wake up some days, but all in all, now I'm at the point of I've come very far on my inner work and inner healing, hence having all the time, me, myself, and I out in the woods or what have you, wherever I've been. It's been a very lonely road, but as we all know, none of us are truly alone. But as far as human connection, yes, that's been lacking my whole life. Anyways, so I'm leaving the shelter and I'm looking across the street. There used to be beautiful woods, pristine woods right across the street. And they have since, over the last few months that I've been at the shelter, torn down a big area of the land. A bunch of the wildlife came running over into our property, babies in nests, raccoons, squirrels, hawks, lost all their homes, and they just demolished all the trees and everything. There's nothing but dirt. Why, one might ask? The county or the city decided it would be a good thing and a benefit to take out nature to put in an indoor gun range. So that started the walk, and then as I'm walking, dripping sweat, I'm like, city planners, when they're planning roads and everything, they spend all these billions of dollars on road repairs and bridges and throughways and yada yada yada. But what is ever done for the millions of pedestrians in this country? Not a whole hell of a lot. I can attest to that through personal experience in multiple states. I mean, have some trees along the sidewalk for some shade. Have some benches along the way or some water fountains. I mean, you can't tell me in the United States of America here in 2023, with businesses and homes on every street, that there's not water mains and pipelines to be able to tap in to put a water fountain for people and animals. Or get some relief from the brutal heat, and in my case, also being up north for part of this, the brutal cold. I mean, covered sitting areas with a bench, maybe a little porta potty on the way. It's not complicated, but there's nothing, and you're just out in direct heat, sunlight, walking. I don't go to the beach and lay out. This is strictly from walking to my job every day. And it's like they, you know, all bow down VIP to any drivers of vehicles, but the pedestrians, it's like, okay, everybody else gets to ride around in air conditioning and heat and comfort of sitting and relaxing and music and whatever, instead of us out. Anyways, so that I was looking and I'm thinking, okay, we've got all this climate talk all over the world and protests and this and that. Well, I mean, if you take a good hard look around, wherever a building is sitting used to be trees or forested areas. And since those trees and plant life are gone now, and there's brick and concrete and mortar and metal, which is conductive to heat and reflects it and radiates it, the light and the heat, rather than trees and plants, which absorb it through a process called photosynthesis. So it keeps the temperatures cooling by having plants, and they also provide our oxygen that we need to breathe to sustain life. You can't breathe concrete dust or grout. You can't breathe drywall. You can't breathe metal rods. So it's not, in my mind, it's not complicated. It's so simple to see why the planet is suffering the way that it is and why we are in certain geographic areas on this planet suffering as well with storms and brutal weather. Not to say that's 100% excluding weather modification technology. So factor that in too. But for the most part, yeah, you pollute the planet, pump shit into the air, shit into the waterways, literally and figuratively. Cut down all the trees, put up conductive materials instead, like it inevitably over time, not a great ending. So it's like a probability thing, and it's not complicated, but it seems to be, and everyone's up in arms and fighting each other, and the biggest carbon footprint on this planet are these guys who still have no accountability in as far as paying for the damage and making reparations for what they've done. I work in fast food, and believe me, I have to suck it up every day just knowing I have to go in there and serve slop to people, and there's so much waste and garbage and plastic, and it makes me sick every day. And if anybody has any hateful comments to that, I don't even want to hear it. I'd like to see you try to survive for 3 years with no one and nothing. Not a blanket, not a car, not $1 to your name, nothing. In ice and snow and heat and walking and lugging bags, moved around, shelter to shelter, county to county, before you can even try to get a job somewhere, having money to get a uniform or get shoes that are acceptable or this, that, and the other thing. Get to your job if it's not within walking distance. So I tried for as long as I could to make a way out of the system. I thought, well, they pushed me out anyways. I'll finish the job for them. I'll just take myself on my merry little way out of this system of a down and go out in the woods, get a tent, and be left alone. And at this point, that doesn't seem half bad anymore, honestly. But, I have to find a balance in this world, fortunately or unfortunately for me or others, to survive. And in this system, that requires money. So I'm doing what I need to do in my life to be self-sufficient, get out on my own, be away from these situations where I'm always crammed in with people and shelter and I don't have any private space of my own. I can't work on anything in my future when I'm constantly going at work and I'm constantly surrounded by other people and there's never a break. So I do the best that I can with these videos, and I will continue to bring as much truth or experience as I found. Keep up what's going on and hopefully maybe find a little hope. We can find some hope together in this, because as of late it's not looking that great. But beyond that, I'm in the process of saving for a car, so hopefully that'll be one less headache in a life full of this. This is my life. I can't escape it.